All right, you guys ready?
I feel good about myself. I had nothing but carrots all week, Eric.
Yeah, dude, you
Carrots
look a little
Yeah,
more thin in the facial region.
thank you, man.
and orange.
A little bit. My Trump look.
Right? Yeah, I got that Trump
Uh,
tan.
it's a rough look right now, but that's all right. We'll figure it out. Well, that's for another podcast. All right, what is up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of The Barn. I'm Frank from Vitrine, and we got two goats with us. It's Wes and Eric from Goat Authentics. Guys, what's up?
Hey, Frank, how's
Not
it going,
much,
man?
man. How are you?
Good, man. Good to see you guys. Really excited to
Too.
kick this off. And I thought that the best thing to talk about first, and I think it's probably a question that a lot of people are thinking, what defines a GOAT to you guys? Wes, why don't you start it off?
All right. Well, that is an interesting question because I think everyone defines it quite differently, as you said. So a GOAT to me is someone that is probably a generational player or somebody that only comes around once in a lifetime. They have to have the quality to appeal to the masses outside of just their, sports capabilities, athletic capabilities.
So is
Man,
it, do you
I mean,
think that it's also like an off the court thing?
it has to be.
Persona, the way that they're perceived in the public, maybe not like a lot of drama and things like that. Do you think that that plays into it?
100%. And obviously I'm going to be biased, but Jordan's always going to be my example of who the GOAT is. And you could look at guys like Kobe and LeBron, or if you want to go to the older generation, Jabbar. They're great athletes. They've achieved a lot, numerous accolades, but Jordan's legacy just lives on. Like, we're here 30 years after the fact, and Air Jordans are still the number one sneaker. Kids are rocking, Jumpman clothing, and they don't even know what Mike has done on the court. They just know him as an apparel, and that just speaks for itself.
Right. Eric, what do you think? What do you think defines a GOAT for you? I mean, does that pretty much sum it up, or is there anything?
No, I agree with all of the sentiments that Wes shared, but to me, it largely is just when a athlete or a person is able to transcend the platform that they're introduced to you on. Like when just MJ was larger than the sport. Essentially, he transcended. Racial lines and the game itself. Really, he made it a international game, and he is responsible for so much of what we see nowadays in modern sports in general. So yeah, man, I think he is the ultimate example of a GOAT. And honestly, not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but that's something that Wes and I were thinking of when we came up with the name for our company as well, as just being the best version of yourself, like being your own GOAT,
Right.
Yep.
And it may be kind of corny sounding, but that's something that we really did think about, and it's something that we tried to live up to as well on our own.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, like Wes, like you said, everybody has their own definition of what a GOAT is. People also have their own choice of who their GOAT is in their respective sports, right? So you guys are doing Jordan, you're doing Brady in football, you're doing Gretzky in hockey. Was there anybody that you considered outside of those three? Obviously, MJ, we're not going to touch that. But outside of the Gretzky and the Brady, to be the GOAT of hockey, to be the GOAT of football, was there anyone that was taken into consideration?
No. I think when you think of, let's just say, football, baseball, basketball, and hockey, like, there is no argument who the GOATs are. And
I agree with
it's
those
three.
things. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's not even a question. There's a lot of talk about Ovechkin now.
Right.
You could take away all the goals, and Gretzky still has the all-time points leader. Accolade to his name.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
that's an
just-
amazing stat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brady with 7 Super Bowls. These are not even arguments. It's fun in the bar to argue and to have the debate, but at the end of the day, it's unanimous. There's no other choices for these three sports.
Yeah. So, and that is kind of, I mean, a lot of that's going to be generational, right? where our generation, I think, I mean, we're all pretty much the same age. You know, we're going to lean heavily towards the guys that we grew up watching, right? And the guys that maybe were before us aren't really guys that we like. You know, everybody says Babe Ruth's, you know, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Very well could be. I never saw him play. I know who my goats of baseball are. I know the guys that I watched growing up. Barry Bonds to me is probably the greatest baseball player of all time. There's a lot of people that won't say that. So, you know, for that next generation, now you've got the MJ LeBron debate, right? Which I know to you, you're going to say it's not a debate, but you know, there is that bar talk about who that next GOAT is. And, you know, that's just kind of going to continue to evolve. So do you guys see yourselves as a company evolving with the times as somebody maybe surpasses another player? I mean, is it Wembanyama that goes on a run and all of a sudden he's considered the greatest of all time? Is it Anthony Edwards? Is anybody capable in your eyes of doing something like that where you guys might have to change up what you're doing as a company?
I think that's a really good question, Frank. I think what makes sports so exciting is you never know what's going to happen. And I think that's why we watch ultimately. And obviously, I think we're open-minded to where our company goes over time. But at this time, we're pretty solid with the GOATs that we have on board. I have a hard time seeing how Jordan could be passed with how the modern game is going, but I mean, you never know.
And it's still way early to tell, right? I mean, those two guys that I mentioned,
of course, yeah,
are just way too early in their careers to even be, you know, put in that conversation.
Yeah,
you know,
and to me, just what Jordan did off of the court too, it just isn't possible for it to be matched because he came along at the perfect time. Had the perfect team around him. He landed
the perfect storm.
Perfect deal with Nike. I mean, just happening after happening. Just it was like the universe was aligned for him. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And I just don't see that happening ever again, man. I really don't.
You got to give David Stern a lot of credit for the marketing of the NBA during the time that Jordan was there. USA Basketball.
Yeah, the international level was just like off the charts.
Oh yeah, Stern was a smart guy, and he took advantage of the situation he had with Michael Jordan as the face of the league, and man, did he do it right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What so you guys, like we said, you're doing MJ, you're doing Gretzky, you're doing Brady. Is there anybody else in the pipeline or someone you're considering? Or is it kind of just like you guys are really just focused on what you guys are doing? All right, I'm just going to be quiet. We're just going to be quiet. We're just going to be quiet. Is there somebody you're working on, though? You don't have to say who it is, but is there somebody that you're working on?
We get a lot of requests for Kobe. And
yeah. So you would do another player within the same sport? Or is that what you're trying to stay away from?
That's what holds me back from doing it. I think Eric, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Eric feels similar, but I think he's more open to doing it than I am. Mm-hmm. It's just there's a lot of requests for it, but you know, my argument for that is there's only one. You can only have one GOAT per sport. You know, you know, and there could be different GOATs. You know, people could have different opinions who their GOAT is.
Right.
But there has to be one to you, and for me, that's Jordan. And I know it's for Eric as well. So it's like, you know, people love Kobe and he's a GOAT to many, but it wouldn't feel right to me adding a second player to a sport.
Right.
Now, baseball, we got baseball still. We have golf. I mean, those are like the 5 big ones, right? Is there thought about adding more? There always is thought about adding more. I think golf is easier to decide than, say, baseball.
Yes, for sure.
So in my head, and Eric and I have discussed this, and we don't go down rabbit holes talking about it a lot. In my head, baseball is probably going to be the last sport that we add somebody.
Okay. And we're just going to kick soccer to the side, right? Just push it off and just never think about it. Is that what I'm getting? That's the vibe I'm getting.
Soccer is more. I feel it's just a bigger international sport than it is here in the States.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So
it is growing here, and it's growing at a rapid pace, which I love to see because I played soccer growing up. I played high school. I played college. I absolutely love it. So it's great for me to see that. We are still many, many, many years behind the rest of the
Yeah.
world. But we've got GOATs.